Hey there, welcome. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back. I'm Debbie and I talk about gadolinium deposition disease, gadolinium based contrast agents, everything related to gadolinium and this toxic rare earth metal that is problematic in the human body. The most common way it's found in the human body is it's injected in MRI imaging to help as a diagnostic so they can see inside the body of what's going on in you. And while it creates a great picture, it's problematic, as the CDC statement in 2022 did indicate, stating gadolinium, even in small amounts, may be associated with significant morbidity and mortality. I talk about gadolinium because it's important. It's impacted my life. I'm a patient. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I am driving awareness, education, knowledge, and hopefully helping people connect the dots. If you're sick, you have sudden, new, unexpected, unexplainable issues unrelated to why you got in the MRI machine to begin with, it may help you connect the dots. I don't know. I'm not pretending to be an expert on any of this. But today is a pretty exciting day because I want to talk about how it's related to mast cell. And today happens to be Mast Cell Awareness Day. Mast Cell Awareness Day, you guys got a whole day on the calendar. Congratulations, kudos to you for being such a driving force that you're raising awareness like this. It's amazing. I'm so excited to be part of the dialogue and to bring some connecting dots maybe, or at least help raise awareness. So kudos to the mast cell community and all the work that you're doing to help humans and figure out what's causing new diseases and the body to go rogue. So people, if you're people watching and you're here, if you're not familiar with what is mast cell disease and why it's a day on the calendar, it's because it's a growing community of problematic issues. And the mast cells are found in everyone. They're part of our immune system, and they help our body when it's running in homeostasis. It's not a problem. Mast cells aren't a problem. It's only when something triggers the mast cell and it builds up that it sets off a condition known as mastocytosis. And that comes from triggers from the outside world, right? So agents like the gadolinium contrast, or medications, or foods, or fragrances, or stress hormones, all kinds of things. So I'm going to put a link to the mast cell community so you can learn more, but I kind of want to talk about how mast cell activation syndrome, which is a new term to many people who find themselves struggling with gadolinium deposition and toxicity, because they go to the doctor and their doctor gives them this new diagnosis of mast cell activation syndrome. And for me, I'd never even heard of it until after I'd had 4 injections. And by the way, I'm almost 8 years out and I still have gadolinium showing up in my blood, serum, my urine, my hair, and my fingernails. Just recently tested as part of a patient repository. And the laundry list of diagnoses that I am battling and healing from on a daily basis has just been incredibly challenging. But I am healing. I'm working on it. But mast cell, that's what we're talking about today, and mast cell awareness. So it can set off skin problems, hives, flushing, itching, GI problems, nausea, diarrhea, abdominal pain, respiratory, wheezing, nasal congestion, difficulty breathing, cardiovascular, dizziness, low blood pressure, neurological problems with the brain fog and headaches, and then systemic problems. And gadolinium is known to be a systemic problem. There's lots of papers written on it. You can research it. Go to PubMed, search gadolinium. There's over 40,000 papers. But the mast cell community recognizes that mast cell can set off a systemic problem, which is fatigue and they say temperature intolerance, which I find kind of humorous because gadolinium is the coldest metal on the earth on the element chart, and here we are injecting it into the human body. Go figure. Why wouldn't it set off chaos, right? Anyway, chronic, when I see the word systematic and fatigue. I think of the label chronic fatigue syndrome seems to be a label that a lot of people get and don't fully understand. They just know they don't feel good and they're trying to figure out how to feel better and what to do, and gets very complex fast, right? Healthcare is just complex. Anyway, let's talk about that mast cell and how it's triggering the body to get our attention. Awareness, alarm, and then we don't feel good. And this paper, which I think I might have introduced, if not, let me introduce it, is published back in 2012 by the Polish Journal of Radiology, and the topic and how it is relevant to today's topic in celebrating Mast Cell Awareness Day is the document is titled Influence of MRI Contrast Media on Histamine Release from Mast Cells. So people in our community get diagnosed with this. We deal with it best we can. We treat it with lots of different ways and things to calm down and dampen down the histamine responses that can be associated with mast cell. And that's what this paper talks about. It says that in its research clear back in 2012 with 34 other papers referenced, so they did a lot of homework and a lot of research to get this information out there. But it talks about, this paper talks about that it is an allergen-induced mast cell deregulation in the basis of anaphylactic reactions. And anaphylactic reactions, a lot of people think that that's an immediate reaction to an allergen. And in our community, we see it as it can happen anytime. And mast cells, one of the things that they see, I think, is with the immune response, it can happen immediately, or it can be something that builds, because as these cells go rogue and misbehave, then sets off, did I mention that sets off the mastocytosis, which is a condition, and then all kinds of things can go rogue and happen, right? So this paper, back to the paper, it sets off anaphylactic responses, and the paper talks about the differences between iconic and non-iconic brands of gadolinium and how they behave differently in the human body. And the paper does conclude, yep, it's probably problematic. Of course, all papers end in more research needed. And back in 2012, we did need more research. But now we have over 40,000 documents in PubMed alone that talk about gadolinium. So I think we just need to reconcile some of the papers and the research that's out there. And we can, then maybe find a solution to help eradicate this toxic rare earth metal out of the body. So it is a problem. The paper talks about it. It concludes that it is a problem. It says it can be life-threatening. And it talks about how the particles and chemicals and mineral formulations form in the body to create an imbalance in the blood. And that would make sense why I'm still dealing with it 8 years later and have to carry an EpiPen, right? I have to carry an EpiPen for histamine responses because sometimes when I walk in a store, it could have a fragrance that sets off the mast cells that are already overactive, and I find myself in crisis mode. And a lot of people carry EpiPens these days, and that really just dampens down the histamine response until you can take further action to help yourself. Anyway, yeah, that's what it's for. And so I carry one, and it's problematic. And what else do I want to say about this? I'm just thankful that the mast cell community got a day on the calendar and that we're talking about it. I would say do your homework. If you've had an injection of one or more gadolinium-based contrast agents and you're experiencing new, worsening, unexpected, unexplainable health issues, maybe connect the dots, at least ask the questions, be curious. And if you're having mast cell responses, there's a huge site that's got a lot of information about what the triggers are, what to do, how to find help. It's part of the body's, the testing they can test in the IgGE area, and that can tie it back to the cellular responses and give your doctor more information to be able to help you. So kudos again, shout out to the community, the mast cell community. Let's learn more about gadolinium. We'll be sharing more. I'm always sharing new things that I can find. And take care of yourself. May your journey be one of wellness always. And if you are impacted by your health, check out these things, mast cells, cytokine storms, get curious, and then think back, create a journal for yourself. When did the symptoms start? What was going on? Were you traveling? Did you get new carpet? Did you, what's changed in your world to set off a mast cell response in your body? It can be lots of things, and gadolinium is one of those. At least we're pretty sure. We got research saying that that's a possibility. So the more we know, the more we can improve. And wellness is important. We're all meant to live healthy and happy lives here. Take care. May your journey be one of wellness always. Until next time.